Yeah. Okay. So, yay! Welcome. Hello, everyone. We had a little hiatus. Ralph went on a walkabout,
Walkabout, big time
and
walkabout.
I'm sure we're going to hear about. I want to hear honestly, hear all about the hybrid. All I saw was the um,
Remote version of
virtual.
it.
All I saw was the virtual. I did not go. I'm sure that there was a New York meetup, but I'm still COVID
So,
scared. So
what we're talking about, folks, is Ignite. In fact, let's go. Let me go open up the page so we can see it. Let me go. Just to
sure.
minimize. I got too many pages open once again.
Microsoft and Ignite, one of the big Microsoft events of the year. Um,
Yes. Here we go. I'm going to
they
share.
still do
I'm going to
build,
share
right?
Ignite. Microsoft Ignite. Register. Login. Yeah. Let me go in. Log in.
So Microsoft does, a couple of big events where they do a lot of product rollouts. They do a lot of education, and Ralph was in as a speaker on for one of the hybrid, the physical, in place events. Um, that was also mixed in with the virtual event, the one that I attended. But
Indeed.
and there are recordings of pretty much the important parts. Some of
Yeah,
the
so I'm gonna
keynotes,
I'm gonna give you some of that in just a moment here, but go ahead, keep going
yeah,
while I
I'm
get
just going
this
to say
ready for
some of
you.
the keynotes really were a little eye opening. I I don't want to drop spoilers before Ralph gets a chance to bring up his stuff, but
Yep.
there's some interesting things going on there. Just in general in the cloud world, um, there's a lot of news coming out around AWS and a little bit around GCP, but we'll have to get to those in another day. Today is going to be all Microsoft, not
It's
necessarily just
gonna
at.
it's going to be the after show.
It's going to be the after
The-
show, right, for Ignite.
yeah. Here we go. Explore key moments. This is Ignite over here. So
Yeah,
Ignite
not
was a hybrid over here, and look, you actually see a picture of me over here. I got there the day before, and here's the thing. I'll tell you, there wasn't. You know how like you go to a conference, you get like a bag, and there's swag in the bag, and all these
right.
vendor stuff and all this stuff. No, this was lean and mean.
There
This
you
was a
go.
Microsoft event. The vendors all had their vendors and partners, or not so much vendors. The partners, that's us, all had our in my particular case, all had their rooms and areas to go to. If we had any swaggy swags, you'd have to actually go and visit us in our areas. There wasn't
Right.
like a big conference room trade show area. They had something like that, but that was all the Microsoft stuff only, like the Surface, all the hardware
Right.
to play with, stuff you can touch and feel, HoloLens, everything. Oh, it was cool and neat, but that was it. Nothing else, just that. So I came in the day before, and here's me coming in the day before, and this was the big swag for it all. These limited edition, and I can't make it really bigger. There's a whole bunch of buttons in there that say Ignite 2022.
Nice.
Only people who came in the day before got those, and you can see I have a special speaker badge. It says expert on there, and that, of
Yeah.
course, that was right there. Time for hijinks. They put expert. You know what happens? Like, hey, you're an expert. Oh, right. But anyway, so and there's me speaking actually right there in front of my packed audience. It was a table talk. Here's the thing about the table talk. There's the table. Maybe there's some stuff over here. Where's the table? I thought table topics was supposed to be something you sat around and
Right.
you basically start telling about your problems. But this is like Alcoholics Anonymous, where like you're out there in the park for people to
Oh,
walk
that's
around. Yeah, people are not exactly going to be, forthcoming to talk about their problems in front of others, and
right.
everything else. So I had to pretty much lead that discussion over here. But here's the thing, though. I supposedly I had capacity for 20 people to sit down. We counted all the people in our area. It was like 70 people that came to my talk.
Oh, nice.
So I actually had let's just say I had good attendance.
Good
I
turnout.
was talking about enterprise productivity. This is one that was not streamed. There were certain ones which were live only.
Right.
Live only saying that if you paid the big money to actually be there and you got lucky to be part of the audience because it was a limited set, maybe 3 to 5,000 people or something
Right.
that could actually physically be there, you could come to one of these actual topics. And mine, again, I'm not the only one that had one. There was a whole bunch of these. in these pods, is what they call them.
Nice.
So, speaking of pods, so I was again one of the topics. This was Ignite. Essentially, Microsoft has right now 3 major conferences a year where they announce things. What's the difference between a Microsoft conference and one where it says Microsoft is at the Power Platform Conference or one of these? Microsoft actually runs this; they own it, as opposed to any other ones outside of the 3. And the 3 I'm talking about: Ignite, Inspire. That's for when the partners and salespeople get together, and Build for pure development. Of course, Ignite, technically speaking, is a mix of development and the modern workplace. And Build has becoming a little bit of developer, but then overlapping with the the folks in doing modern work or the low code, as they say. So there's a bit of a mix in that. But you know that in those 3 events, there's going to be an announcement that says, we're now announcing this new feature. We're now announcing that new feature. That's what's going to happen. And Satya is over there, and that's all he does. All the different product groups, they want to get their kudos. They make sure that they're on his announcement list over here. Here's some highlights in demand. By the way, anyone can go to this, ignite.microsoft.com. You don't have to sign in. You can start looking at stuff. All of this stuff is already ready to go and visible for anybody to come see. See all that? There's a mixtape. Oh, look at this. Mix your top high. You can make your own mixtape. I like this. It's pretty interesting.
There you go.
Cloud Skills Challenge. By the way, this is going on out there. Hey, cloud folks, the Cloud Skills Challenge. You know what this is? Earn a free certification exam by completing one of these challenges. I wanted to show you this, Larry, because I know you want to have a free certification.
I have to research. I actually have to. So one of my exams is going to expire February 25th. I have to go online and take a. It's a free kind of recertification test.
That's right.
They
have those. So, but take a look at these over here. See, AI automation, modern work, field service automation, cloud developer. That would be you over here in this particular area.
There we go.
I like this cloud app maker. Cloud app maker. Blah, blah, blah. What? Rivas uses these cloud. Oh, because it's low code. So apparently, anytime they want to do low code, they're using the term maker.
App maker.
You're a maker.
I like that branding though.
Are you a maker and a taker? It's a joker and a smoker.
And here's the thing. I'm looking at the low code more as the kind of the last mile. Copper. When we talk about fiber, we have people that we have fiber all the way out, but the last mile is copper in a lot of places. And we have organizations, we have industries that don't have an IT department that's able to go all the way to their business partners the way that they do in some enterprises. And that low code gives them that last mile. It lets them take the offerings that their IT department has in place and sort of rearrange them or remix them. Speaking of mixtapes, remix them into something that actually solves a business problem. And that's all we're talking about. We're talking about solving business problems. So it's very cool.
So on this particular note, you can take a look. And this is what I'm surprised that's not a link on here. And what should have been a link on here is the book of news. And I'm trying to see if they hit it somewhere. Let's go see. Partner stories. Yeah, we're in there. Swag. The swag doesn't stop. Look at this. Digital swag. That's all they have, digital swag. So check this out, though. Digital swag. So you saw my background over here? That's from the digital swag where I got that. You can download the swag, 58 megs worth. There are team stuff you can put in there, wallpapers, backgrounds, badges, because we need those.
Social frames.
Social frames. There we go. Okay, that's cute. Because that's what you can do for swag right now. You saw those buttons. You saw that. That was it. There was no other swag. They had contests to win surfaces. But they didn't give a surface to everyone. There was no special thing that was going on with that. It was lean and mean, and maybe mean because hey, you paid a lot of money and all I got was these buttons.
Well, we are. I mean, I hate to say it, but we are kind of at the beginning of a recession. I don't almost have to say it. I can't get the word out of my mouth because I was just in a town hall today, and the company I'm working for is talking about how we're doing really well, but
they got the big but.
Everybody has that part that they have to say, but we're seeing contractions, right? We're seeing a lot less requests for new resources because everyone's kind of hunkering down, or getting into the sustain mode,
getting into that mindset where they have to go down and hunker down.
And there we
That's
go.
exactly right. Yep.
Book of news.
So with that one, we're going to go to the book of news here in just a second here. So just really quick, and again, the idea of it being lean and mean and all that stuff, I don't think it was because Microsoft is worried about, because Microsoft is making money hand over fist, frankly, with some of the stuff that they came through. If you think about it, the pandemic has brought a lot more opportunity to them, and a lot of things have happened. Right now, I'm hearing, we had a town hall today, and they were talking about, well, here's the thing, they said we're focusing on Teams a lot. Why? Because they won the collaboration wars. I said, what? That's news to me. Who won the collaboration wars? Whatever happened to all those other systems out there? Essentially, what they were saying was that the numbers are saying in the app stores and all these other places and socials and everything else, that apparently Microsoft has won it. So what happened to Zoom? Aren't a lot of people still using Zoom? Aren't a lot of people still using, I don't know, WebEx and all that stuff? Said they are, but they're niches now.
Right.
All right, relative to what apparently Microsoft has spread throughout the area, to the point where, like, okay, that's pretty scary. Where some people are still going to use the same tools. Don't get me wrong. Don't stop using your tools. If you're focused on a tool and you've got the investment, go for it. Right. But what they're trying to say is, like, if you're using Office 365 and you're paying for something, you realize that if you do something else, you're paying for that too, on top of the fact that you've already paid for it here.
For sure.
It's a tough argument to make.
And what happens with things like that is, once they've reached the majority, which it sounds like they have, anyone that's building any sort of integration into, people were integrating into Slack, people were integrating into Zoom. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're starting out and you're going to build something that's going to enhance the experience of your users, you're going to build it into Teams. I mean,
it's like the de facto like host for it to get to. Again, though, that's the what as you put it, it's the last mile.
Yes,
it's the last mile, right? Everything else, though, still can happen, however they happen. You remember Splunk?
Yes.
Somebody asked me about that. It's like, hey, is Splunk still a thing? Is it a yay or nay for Splunk? It's like, well, here's the thing. It's happening behind. I haven't heard much about it because I'm hearing all these things happening in Azure, but that's only because that's my view. It doesn't mean it's not happening. And will it make a difference in this world where Microsoft seems to be dominating all this stuff? Frankly, no. Right? Because in the end of the day, that's dealing with stuff that's over there. If it ends up in Microsoft area, that's still the last mile.
Right. And, Splunk is a good example. Another one that I've run into with clients just this week, Okta for authorization and authentication.
That came up too.
It is a going concern. They have a good value proposition.
Yes. But do we put it? In fact, we've been asked, do we have any Okta people recently too? So it's still there.
It's still there. It's going strong, but it's one of those things that the Azure Active Directory does the majority, right? Does the 75%. I won't even say 80%, because there are a lot of things that Okta does really well. Don't get me wrong. It's a really good product. For the single sign-on across multiple platforms, it's great. Microsoft is, even if you just call them 70%, if they provide 70% of the value, but they're almost free, right? They're rolled into what you're already buying because you're already on the Azure platform. Then it doesn't make economic sense to go to a third-party vendor.
That's right. And and with the Azure stuff, sometimes you have to pay a premium, or rather the higher level Azure, if you need that higher level piece of Azure. Now, that means Microsoft provides those extra security pieces, but that's where folks will opt on like an Okta or a third party, because we're going to have to pay that premium to somebody anyway. We could pay it to Microsoft and they give us like a certain amount, but we're only going to get this service versus let's pay an Okta. We might pay a little bit more, but we'll get all this much more on top of it, which is still fine. I'm still giving a thumbs up to Okta for staying ahead of the game. So they seem to have their act together, at least as far as staying ahead on whatever Microsoft comes up with.
Innovate. They're like I said, a really good product. I'm concerned for their long-term,
The
viability
long
though.
term, yeah,
It's, but I mean, then again, JetBrains is still, ReSharper is still a tool that people buy.
yeah,
I would use ReSharper today if I was heads down coding,
right.
90% of my time, just because it does provide that extra value. But Visual Studio does everything that ReSharper did
Oh, geez,
10 years ago, just out of the box.
right.
When I was first looking at ReSharper, there's nothing that it was doing at that point that Visual Studio doesn't already do just built in.
And you've seen Copilot and some of these other tools now where they're coming in and like literally the AI is coming to help you code. It's like almost having like a pairing partner,
Yes, and
who's a machine.
that's Microsoft getting ahead, right? They maintained parity for a while, right? For a good long time. Every version of Visual Studio that came out had extensions and had extra pieces that extended the functionality and closed that gap until they got parity.
Yes.
And then they were neck and neck, and now Copilot is really putting them ahead. And so, Okta is the same sort of deal. Splunk, I mean, why would you use Splunk when you have Azure Insights?
That's right, exactly.
Or if you go up to that premium level, there are dashboards that you get and security that you get with the higher level resources that you just don't get.
Yes.
Because it's consolidated, right? That Okta, you have to build those dashboards in to bring all of that information together. Azure, it's all consolidated.
It's all consolidated. Well, here's the thing though. I am finding out that some people are running into, for all the Microsoft consolidation, there is still a cost.
Yes.
And it seems that's, in fact, this is where so far a lot of these third parties have been surviving. Because Microsoft, when it does the premium, appears to have the premium cost with it. Yeah, it's the butler version of it. It's the very nice you're in the Westin versus say the Motel 6, I guess, is the, not to disparage Motel 6, but but to say that they're meant to serve a different kind of clientele than the other one for the particular amenities that you provide. Here's the thing though, like with a Splunk, because it's open source in a lot of those cases where they're using those kind of tools, you're going to get those so-called cost savings. You're not having to spend that extra. You're going to get the power.
Right.
You're going to have to pay for compute anyway, but you're not going to have to pay that licensing fee that's essentially attached to
that gives you white glove service. I mean, that's really
exactly.
Yeah. I'm sorry, and we've gotten off. I want to hear more about the book of news. I want to hear more.
Let's go to the book of news. We're ready for this. Let's go see what's in here. So this is the book of news. So here's the thing. Every remember I told you about the 3 big conferences Microsoft has. Well, every conference will have a book of news. If you find a conference and you want to know everything about it, there will be a book of news on Microsoft. This appears to be now a pattern. So look for the book of news to find out what it is. And from the book of news, you can literally create your own agenda on things you want to cover for your own guide. So over here, they're telling you, oh, here's the book of news and what it's all about. And take a look. Now they'll cover all the subjects. And I wish they had a table of contents over here. Where's the table of contents? Hold on a second. There it is. Thank you. Let's go there. Thank you. This is better. Okay. This is what I wanted. All right, table of contents. Are we in a PDF? This is a nice app. This is a web page that's actually pretty cool. So anyway, so here we go. So let's look at the Azure stuff. Azure data. All these news and about Azure data. And here's the thing, though. Kudos to Satya to actually talk through all these some of these stuff he talked about very individually. We're now announcing encryption at rest for blah blah blah. It's like, and it sounds so nerdy and like so specific. So people like at the conference were like listening and were like, falling asleep a little bit with that. Yeah. It's like, well, it's not his fault. Yeah. But meanwhile, the product team that probably worked all year to make that come out, they're like, yay, there's our stuff. There's there's our autoscale is in review.
Yeah, the people that worked on putting the product out is great, but it's also the people that use it, right? There are industries where that's been a major stumbling block for being able to get, to go to Azure for everything. Because we have
let me go through these. Yes. So let me go through these real quick. See, Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform adds integrated partner ecosystem. Okay. That I don't think we need to deep dive that. That sounds like they just brought in partners that are now playing nice with them. Okay. Azure Cosmos DB adding distributed PostgreSQL support. Was
Right.
that an issue before? It looks like it was,
So,
because apparently it wasn't there before.
PostgreSQL, right? PostgreSQL is the open source piece, and Cosmos DB is providing you a Postgres interface then that they're allowing distributed queries and distributed, data sets with that you could only access through the Cosmos DB API before. So they're opening,
so this is a plus.
The way that you interface with their product, and what they're doing is they're and one of the people, one of the places that we used to do a lot of business with, Pivotal had a product called oh shoot, now I can't remember it. It was a data warehouse. It was like a Green Plum. I think it was Green Plum.
Gosh, I remember hearing something. Yes, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so they had a whole business model built around this this turnkey data warehouse built on Postgres, and so people have a lot, and especially in the financial industry, that's where it really took off. Pivotal really saturated that market.
Wow.
But we have a lot of people that have a lot of code that's set up to go against that Postgres style database that were unable to move to the cloud because they weren't able to gain access to their data the way that they were used to. And this DB, which is the global, or really, universal sort of database, right? I mean, it is a global, globally replicated. You can set the consistency level to whatever you want, as far as how the replication takes place and how often.
Right. That's right.
It's amazing. If you've not delved into Cosmos DB, it is a different type of database. You pay for it. Don't get me wrong. It's expensive if you're using some of those, high-end features, but you can get millisecond, transfers and queries, and it's amazing. Sorry, I could gush. We have a lot.
So that second announcement, actually, you'd be gushing on that one a little bit there, on the fact that it can do that.
Yeah.
We found something for Uncle Larry.
With customer managed keys. Now, I mean, that's the big deal, is because, and it's on Azure Database for PostgreSQL. I mean, that's again, they're embracing that outside auto scale IO feature for Azure Database for MySQL. I mean, that they've had auto scale for their version of SQL, but now they're embracing,
MySQL.
They had it for Postgres, now they have it for MySQL as well, because some people, that's the way that they interact.
All right. Next one. Azure Data Studio now supports Oracle database assessments for migration. Well, they're moving in. I'm surprised they didn't have this before, but it looked like it was a lot harder than it looked, and they finally got it.
Well, I mean, so they've had the assessment tool for migrating on-prem to cloud. I mean, that's really what this is about.
Indeed.
But now they're going cross-vendor. And to be honest, a lot of one of the clients that I was with earlier this year has Oracle licenses, and they're under license, and they're going to be maintaining those. They actually weren't able to do the change early enough, and we couldn't put enough people, right? It was the whole Mythical Man month. They wanted to transition off of it, but there weren't enough days in the calendar in order to get that transition to take place before their license was due. So they paid their next round of license fees, which was significant. I mean,
yikes.
And now that's what they're working on. They're working on that transition. Oracle is a great product, but it's got some vendor lock-in that makes it hard to leave. Sorry.
Exactly, to share the bits. Yep.
Yep.
All right, next one over here.
Azure
Azure Synapse Analytics. Okay, well, all right. This is basically a bunch of features that I think we can wax poetic on the data. Remember I said we want to. We looked at Azure Synapse before. We're probably going to come back and deep dive that. I want to bring in somebody to really go into that one,
Yeah.
especially because they talk about these machine learning updates in Azure Synapse. A lot of this stuff, and I'm telling you, there's the code stuff. There's an announcement that came out. I'll actually talk about it in a little bit, but the AI and the machine learning pieces are getting scary, very, very powerful.
Well,
we were talking about Copilot.
Yeah.
They're scary.
And what's neat, what's really interesting about the way that they're pursuing this is they have a lot of these models that they're training in the cloud, but then you can push the model down to your edge device and
That's
have the
right.
intelligence actually on the edge. It's just not in a training mode. And it is amazing what that's opening up for us.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm in Brooklyn. Can you hear my?
I was gonna say that could be me over here, but that sounds like a Brooklyn 911 right there.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, let's see. Azure Data Explorer adds new data source for near real-time analytics.
Yes.
Well, that actually, this is like for the data folks. That's really nice. SAP changed it. Oh, a lot of stuff going on in SAP. I like that. Yeah. But go ahead.
I was just going to say near real-time analytics. Gosh, I'm sorry, guys. I've had those conversations. I've had at least 3 different clients where I've talked to them about what real-time versus near real-time versus, analytics.
Right.
And they always seem to understand. And it doesn't matter how many times I tell them and how many ways I show them. At some point, they're going to say, but I just made a change and the report doesn't show it.
That's what you just explained to them. It's like, wait a minute, what did I just tell you? That my data goes in here and comes out there? Yeah, but not that way.
But not immediate.
Exactly.
And the cost for real time is exponentially greater than the cost for near real time.
Yes.
I mean, there is a curve. There's a cost curve. Anytime you get closer to real time, it's going to cost you more. Now, what's great about this is that the Azure Data Explorer is building a lot of that in for you. What they're doing is behind the scenes, they're building a data cube, and they're keeping it up to date, and they've got triggers built against it. And you pay a little bit for it, but you don't have to manage it.
You don't have to manage it anymore.
Yourself. Or better yet, you don't have to hire a data engineer that knows how to set one of those up and set it up correctly. So
got it. Yeah, let's take a look at this last one. Second to last, well, SAP. There's going to be a lot of news coming out on SAP with Microsoft. As much as they're quote unquote competitors, they're at the hip with a lot of these things of late, and it's just that's the case of total frenemies having a lot of power.
Because SAP is very niche. I mean, it has a specific market that it owns. Let's get real. SAP is the owner of a particular segment of business life. But there's a lot that Microsoft has, especially in Azure, especially with their BI tools and things like that they can really enhance the experience of the end user.
Yes.
And it's a good frenemies is a great way to talk about it, because by enhancing SAP in situ, right, where it sits, they're actually making it so that SAP is going to last longer. It's not going to go away. People aren't going to change away from it.
That's right.
Because they can get all of these new features tacked on the outside.
Exactly.
But they are also driving traffic into Azure.
That's true.
And
everyone wins.
Eventually, if SAP is completely subsumed by all of this Azure and you never see SAP itself, that's the strangler tree pattern, right? You're making it so that there's a layer of abstraction that you can swap SAP out with something else.
Oh dear.
The end users won't know.
Yeah, or should not know.
A long play.
Probably yes. Well, that is the assumption. We're looking at that, and we'll come back in a year and see where how far it went.
For sure.
Take a look. The next one, Purview. By the way, the concept of Purview is like Microsoft has this concept of data governance, or actually it's more like data loss protection and compliance and security and all that stuff. And they said essentially, and they talk about governance, but they talked about these separately. And one of the biggest topics that was going on for the last year has been the concept of data governance. Just like code, where there's governance, data should be governed, right? And so how do you govern data? That's a really hard subject. It's like saying, hey, how do we govern knowledge? Right? Do you put a clamper on knowledge? This is like, well, there's philosophical issues when it comes to that. But the concept of Purview is that it actually creates that data governance, where essentially the source of truth itself will come out in a manner that is affected by governance policies, like when someone should know, who should know, how should they know, in what manner, in what format, all that stuff. That's
right.
Purview.
And you have tracking and all of that. That's interesting. That's not something that I've lived with and lived in. So
we're going to be there. All right, what's this? Let's look at the hybrid. Hey, Arc, there's cloud-like capabilities. Okay, well, that seems like that was a natural thing to happen. Right. But in this case, though, it's the SQL Server, the Arc-enabled SQL Server. So it's almost like semi-on-prem, SQL Server. Basically, your own cloud, and have your private stuff. Makes sense. All right. So for those evil geniuses that have to have their secret layer in the disconnected island place, looks like you have your capability all set up.
There you go. If you're one of those air-gapped industries,
yes,
this is good. This is good news for you, though.
Good news for you.
You can do like automatic migrations and auto scaling and things like that, right? Overcommits, and it's interesting.
Exactly. Coming up over here, like the deployment offers for Kubernetes via Azure Arc. Well, again, it seems like a natural thing that they would make that easier to use. So that's good. New feature releases for Azure Stack ACI. That's probably just, again, specific. Let's go take a look at some more Azure stuff. They got a bunch of Azure stuff. Infrastructure, Azure Automation, again, in Azure Arc. It's almost like those two are related a little bit. Yeah. Virtual machine scale set and Spot virtual machine capabilities, new. So, hey, a scale set for virtual machines? That's actually neat. I thought that was like in the realm of the third parties. Looks like they're adding that.
They're adding that, and I believe, now I could be wrong. I'll need to read into this. I've not looked through this. I think the Spot is about building out. It has to do with pricing. It has to do with using the resources that are available at a lower cost when they're available at a lower cost.
Yeah. Here we go. In fact, here we go. Customers can also have policy to define a percentage allocated of standard VMs versus Spot. The number of standard VMs that need to be running at a given time, in addition to the percentage of spots, can also be defined. And I believe that's what that means here.
Yep.
Here we go. Spot VMs in the same virtual machine set in preview. This is in preview now. The capability available with flexible orchestration to help Azure customers achieve cost savings, asterisks. When they say that cost savings, mileage will vary, given the deep discount rates that Spot VMs usually provide. That's your indicator.
Yeah.
So you see Larry is speaking the truth over here when he says, well, clearly spots are like meant to save money. And sure enough, there it is.
So what happens? We all know hotels, right? They charge per night per room.
Yep.
They don't get paid for empty rooms.
That's right.
Okay. Just like that, our cloud vendors don't get paid for idle CPUs.
Yes.
And so that's what this Spot is. It's a way to, kind of level the demand. But that's interesting. I'm glad to see. As you said, there were third parties that would allow you to kind of automatically do some of that, but they're building it in.
They're building it in.
Cool.
How about it? All right,
now,
let's see.
This next one is hot.
Premium SSD in Elastic SAN. Ooh.
Yes.
Oh, oh,
So
these are hard. We're talking drives now. We're talking.
we're talking hard drives. We're talking actually just access to data. So one of the things that you have with compute, you can be data bound or compute bound. If you're data bound, it will increase the duration of the action that you're performing, and you pay based on that duration. So if you can get a faster resource like these SSDs, then you can actually decrease your cost even though you're using more premium components. It's an interesting dynamic. You know, talk to your enterprise architects about your data usage and the way that your things go. But
look at these numbers, man. Look at these numbers. Premium upscale, 64 hebibytes. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that used yet. First time I've seen that used. Hebibyte. Holy smokes!
But the cost analysis that you did 2 years ago is completely out of date now. You need to go back in and take a look and see if you are actually spending your money wisely within the cloud.
Wow. Other things here. Well, we saw this over here. New Azure monitoring capabilities and features.
Features and networking. Just
log updates, networking.
Windows Server benefits and features.
Let's see. Windows Server benefits features right over here.
Yeah.
And they're showing them run AKS. Hey, run AKS and Windows Server. Well, yeah. Again, some of these are overlapping.
They overlap
announcements. Yeah. You made something happen, and a whole bunch of features that spread out beyond the one topic is what a lot of these are. So
yeah,
I see how they interlap over here. Azure Savings Plan for Compute offers new pricing offering. Oh, what money? Look at this. New pricing offer will allow customers to save across compute service globally by committing to a fixed hourly amount. Oh, I get it. So this is a new model. So folks that are doing the licensing and the Azure calculator, you need to come back and see, hey,
exactly. Yes.
What savings might you be missing out on because you did not have this available to you before?
Yes, because what they'll do is they'll discount that flat rate. You pay. You can still use resources above it, but you're committing.
Yes.
Like basically to a time and material subscription for a certain spend.
Yes.
And it helps them because they want to even their costs out. It helps you because it lowers your cost.
Right, and also does their planning also helps with that
forecasting
because forecasting and all that, and even like when they're standing up stuff and letting the AI figure it out, there'll be more. They're just in time. Let's just say calculations will be better because you essentially have predetermined what those answers are going to be.
Yes.
Oh, let's look at the VMware solutions.
We're not even halfway there.
And we're not even halfway there. Let's see, VMware solutions. Okay, top. I see one over here. Let's take a look at this. Two new Azure VMware solutions, and oh yeah, so Azure and VMware.
Again, yeah, stuck together.
Tied at the hip. Look at this. We got the 4 nines over here. Stretch clusters for Azure VMware solution now in preview. Mission critical apps for high availability is for 4 nines. But wait a minute. Zone failure. Virtual machines automatically fail over to affected availability zone with no app impact. That's very ambitious to say.
Right.
Which does not require IT support. Even more ambitious.
Yes.
Automatic
migration of load.
Whoa.
Great.
Okay, right. So here are the tools and developer tools for DevOps. This one almost deserves its own discussion, but again, this is on the Azure DevOps, so not through there. Business application. Let me double check on this one.
I look down. I see the Service Bus Explorer.
That looks nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Latest version of Visual Studio. We were talking
Microsoft
about
and Postman partner on APIM.
Yes.
You know, and this is a natural. That should have been done. I'm just saying that how many folks now doing dev do you use as Postman in your toolkit? Well, you know what? The Microsoft people are also using Postman.
We have teams that are using Postman for automated testing as well, because you can set up test suites within Postman. So I mean, it is, yeah, they're going to get bought.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're coming up.
I don't
We
know
never
anything insider.
We don't
but,
know anything.
yeah.
We're not spending any NDA because I haven't heard anything. I'm reading off the book, and we're all making our just off the bat.
Yeah.
So all of this, by the way, I was on an NDA because I actually got a copy of this the day before as an MVP.
Right.
And I'm like, they're like, don't tell anyone under a penalty of, you know. But of course, 24 hours later, it came so fast, and here we are talking about it anyway. Let's go take a look over here. Business apps. Let's look at the Edge. Edge workspaces. Edge adds security features, accessibility, and inclusivity. Okay. Industry cloud. Cloud of sustainability. Hey, remember we talked about that? The sustainability. And I'm also working, by the way, I'm also working on this. This is one of my little topics I'm working on this side for the cloud for healthcare. When more of that comes out, we'll talk about it one day. We'll bring our healthcare person to talk about it because that's actually pretty neat on what's happening over there on the cloud. But we talked about this with Smithmier. Remember Smithmier? Yes, we remember. We talked about that. Let's see what's going on in Teams. Oh, avatars. Oh, wait, that's a whole thing. In fact, maybe we'll have an episode where we're hearing avatars, but coming up. We will do the avatars episode coming up soon, but otherwise there's team stuff. Like, remember I said Teams is pretty much, they said that they win the collaboration wars.
Yes.
You can almost say, like, when these announcements, some of them, they feel minory, but they're not. They're actually, they feel minor because it's, in a sense, they don't have to win anymore because they felt like they won. Yeah. That's what it looks like. It feels like they're feeling like they won. They don't feel like, it doesn't feel like they're like going out there to find a way. We need to overcome that Zoom functionality or this functionality. No, they're just coming up with, what can we do new, brand new. They're not even, it's like it's way over the shoulder now for some of this stuff. Oh, by the way, Syntax has finally come out. Remember a long time ago we had Joel, we talked Syntax. So here it is. It's Syntax finally for real. Syntax introducing.
Microsoft Loop is in private
Microsoft
preview.
Loop's out. That's nice.
It's gonna be
nice.
Here's
my Power Platform stuff. Oh, look at this. Here's my top one of this one. Introducing a way to automate using natural language AI. So let me explain this one. This is like we've now crossed over into the zone. Oh, there's no picture of it, but here's how it works. Now imagine talking into the screen and said, what do you want to automate? I want to automate this thing to move something from Excel over to SQL. It literally listens to what you said, makes a sentence out of it, and creates a Power Automate flow based on it.
For example, when I receive an email from Mark that's got a spreadsheet attached, I want to put that into my SQL database as a new table, and it'll just go ahead and do it.
And so you basically say, put this spreadsheet into my SQL database table automatically with all the information, and I'll say something like that, and it will literally build the components for that automation, right? And then you have to go in, fill in the blanks and everything else. It's basically here. See this? Basically, you finalize it in the Flow Designer.
We need to demo this.
This one we'll have to demo.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is coming up. This is in preview, and like I said, in preview means that we may not see it in quickly in a tenant, but this one will preview. We'd like to definitely go see that one. That one is a scary one. AI Builder.
No, it's that last mile though. It's the last mile with with the Star Trek computer that you just talked to.
Other things, security, of course, security. Look, like a whole bunch of stuff with security. There's Purview again coming up.
Insider risk management features.
I'm trying to think. I think this is the last one and then of course Windows will now be the last of the pieces over here. Windows 365 continues to expand. Well, that's news. Update compliance. Okay, fine. Test base. Okay, fine. In product organizational views and universal print announces user management. Okay, because printing still happens. And that's pretty much that is the book of news, at least for now. All right, we wanted to focus on the cloud stuff over here. We didn't look at the AI. Let me go see what was missing there. No, it's cognitive service, form recognizers capabilities, Bonsai, which is Microsoft Project, AI features. All right, no, we wanted to focus on the cloud piece because we are the Cloud Talk Show after all. So we talked about the cloud stuff. It's fun to have all the little cloud stuff we talked about, like I said, avatars and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we wanted to cover this little piece for everyone over here. This is our informal review of the Microsoft conference review. Yeah.
Right. All right.
We're reviewing it, right?
Okay. We reviewed it.
We reviewed it. We basically gave the review. How are the sessions? Ooh, the sessions were great. No, just kidding. It's not how that works. But you saw how anyone can now go into the site and anything that's backpacked or saved. Remember, it was free to join unless you physically attended. Anyone now can go in there and grab any of that content and watch and go through. But my suggestion, really, the power of this is the fact that every time they have these shows, they have a skills challenge going on for free certification. Money on the table, folks. Come and get it.
And any of these things that you want to dig into more, look below. It says it has the learn more about this update. That's a link to on the left-hand side there. Learn more about this update.
Let's go ahead and click on one.
That's a link to deep dive into the actual product updates.
Here, look, I have a picture over here. Look at this. And let me make this bigger. Let me make this bigger. Bigger.
And bigging it, please.
I'm figuring on biggering this page, the Lorax. Okay, here, check it out.
There we go.
Describe your flow in everyday words. Every time someone responds to Microsoft Form survey, post a message to Teams and send an email. Suggested flow. This is not what I want. Click.
Yeah.
Next.
So try again.
Format by example. Here we go. Basically, powered by pros. As in, I guess the more eloquent you are, Mr. Shakespeare, you can perhaps make a very cool flow or make one that totally does not make sense, like some of the plays. But yeah, okay. Okay. So
the Scottish play, right? We can't say the word. But
it's the Scottish play. Yes. So, sorry. Bad Scottish accent.
Yeah, this is cool.
Oh, so I followed through over here. Oh yeah, so this one this one you've seen before, which is, remember, even when we were talking syntax from a long time ago, they said this was originally part of Project Syntax, wherein you come up with something like this with, like, here's an invoice, the factura invoice with all this stuff, and it goes there, and here we are highlighting what the pieces are, and it knows how to automate and figures it all out.
Yep.
New ways to scale the automation kit. Yep. Let's scale with business approval templates. Sure. Hosted RPA bots. Okay, that they've been talking about that one for a while. RPA migration. The RPA is a big deal. So there we go. There's our favorite robot. That's our robot master. Bow to him right now. As they say, it may not be one for looks, but say nice things about our guy.
Start automating for free. Get out there and try it. I mean, see if it works for your business. That's the beauty of all of this. It's not free when you're using it for real, but you can definitely get in and try it and find out if it will help.
So here's another thing that you get to when you're in person, and sometimes you get to meet the experts and meet with folks live in person. That was going on a lot. Remember, I had my expert thing over there. Yes. Technically speaking, I was someone that someone could make an appointment with. I had to make myself available to, like, sit down and get grilled for an hour, without my billing rate, right, to get going. So that's fine and well. But I had a chance to, like, at least do nosebleed discussions with folks like Stephen himself and Ryan Cunningham and those folks with my team, and of course we discussed their things. But that was the cool thing about that you don't really get with how do we say it, the remote sessions. It's not the same meeting as they say virtually. We're coming in, we're going to have a Teams meeting on this, and we're going to talk about it. We're actually in there. There's like a room set up for us. Everyone goes there. There can be social distance, however, it's all there. That service for that piece, it's like entices conversation. In the room and everything else. That's why I didn't like my table topic, the fact that it was open to everyone. It was great. I had a huge audience. I could speak to everyone, but I'm going to do most of the topics. I was like, so anyone have anything to say about that? I guess not. We'll carry on. I have to make up stuff. But when they have those closed area rooms, which they did have, you have to ask for them or work them out. And I think conferences should still allow for those. Yeah. It's because sometimes people want to speak and want to go through. Oh, look, hey. Oh, remember we talked about GitHub Pilot? There it is. There's Copilot.
There it is.
Let me click on that. I just want to follow that one through. GitHub Copilot. Come on. Copilot. Everybody has clicked on this link at the same time. That's why it's slow now. It's like, oh, you're another one. Here we go. Your AI pair programmer.
You start typing.
Hey, look, start my free trial.
Oh, pretty cool.
Trained on billions of lines of code. Here's the thing. It gets smarter and smarter every day because you know what it's doing? It's helping people, and it's learning from what it's doing when it's helping people, right? So people might say, I don't like that. And how many people said, I didn't like that? Well, guess what? The AI is going to learn. I don't think I'm going to suggest that to anybody else.
For sure. All right. Well, guys, this has been a great one. I think we need to shut us down. We started a little bit late, but
yep,
we are bumping up against the hour, and I know that
we are.
That being billable, we do need to. And
in fact, yeah, it's the Friday, so you know that somebody has scheduled a meeting on us on a Friday because nobody has ever learned that lesson. I have the Ralph rule: never schedule a meeting on a Friday unless you want evil to be rained down upon you. But so basically, I try to do no evil and I keep my karma that way. But it doesn't mean that a client cannot request my time for that because I'm there for them, right? We are there for them. Yeah, we will accommodate you. We don't hate you.
Last night, we
love you.
Last night, at a little bit after midnight, they scheduled a meeting for this morning.
Oh dear.
At like 8:30. Which,
okay.
You know, my normal first meeting of the day is at 9:30. I didn't check my email when I got up, and so I missed it. And
oh dear.
Just, I don't feel bad. No.
Well, they did. Well, here's the thing. It's not like you replied to it and said yes.
Exactly.
They saw it. Did Larry reply? No, he did not reply. Well, he probably did get the mail.
He didn't accept or decline.
So, sure. So here's the thing. That's why, remember, they used to have the mails that said, "Hey, don't." I wonder who still clicks on this person requested that you sent the return receipt. Say yes or no. Who still clicks on yes to that? I don't know anyone who does that because it always feels like a spam.
I know.
Even if you know the person, you're still like, I'm going to dismiss this box. I'm not going to say yes. I'm just saying. Never do it.
All right. Well, be safe, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you back next week for more.
Oh, wait, not next week.
Oh, no.
Update for next week. Next week, I'm CollabCon, Kansas City. Going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. Yeah, there's the song. So we're going to have another break again for next week. Because I will literally be either coming out of the my session.
Yes.
And then about ready to get on the plane to come back. I'm literally flying in and flying out in the same day. This will be the first one that I'm doing in that particular way, but it's easier because it's Kansas City.
Yeah.
Not too far away. Airline gods and weather permitting, that should be fine. But I don't want to commit to like being like remote on this particular session next week. So next week we're taking a break. The week after we're back again. What's then the week after that is. What's the week after that? November 11th, 11/11/22. That is a Friday. That is the big m365chicago.com. Please come over, folks, and register and get some audience in there. That is the big show. That is our big conference. So that's going to be on that date. So maybe we'll see you there, Larry. One of the attendees in one of the sessions. Who knows? You know, I know Larry spoke at one time. So we still have that recording. But yes, that's coming up November 11th. So that's what it's looking like over the next few days. It's almost like we're going every other week the way this is going. Well, why do I have stuff going on Friday? Jeez.
We get what time we get what time we can.
We do.
We might have to come off our Friday date and time, but we'll see.
Well, yeah. So we're trying to accommodate. I did an interview with somebody that did me on New Zealand time. So he wouldn't mind talking to us, but he's sort of giving me only his New Zealand times to go for. I know that we can probably do it. So that would mean a live recording at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night our time. We shall see. You never know. We might do it. I know Raquel's awake, right, Raquel? Raquel's awake. She's an owl.
Hit us with the
hit it, Raquel. Get us out.
Let us go. We're gonna promise you that.